Hello friends, it is Kim and I'm here to start setting up my 2025 planners. So the first one up, and this is the actual first one I'm setting up, is my daily planner. This is something that I've never shown on my channel before, well at least the way that I use it. So I've never shown this on my channel before. Obviously I've never had the Sterling Ink daily planner because it's a new product, but the way that I'm using it is something that I've always used pretty much throughout my entire life. So I decided to pick up the daily planner and use it in that way for me. I'll stop speaking in code. So the way that I use it is pretty much like a brainstorming type of notebook, very messy kind of notebook. I've given glimpses of my notebooks on my channel before, but never really in depth because it's really not something that's easy to explain. It's kind of like that cousin or that friend you have and you know that they work, but you have no idea what their job actually is because it's so hard to explain. The job of this notebook in my life is kind of like that. It works, but it's just not all that easy to explain to other people. Maybe they won't get it. Maybe I won't explain it clearly. Maybe it's just a million different things wrapped up into one and it's kind of hard to break it down and pinpoint it in a succinct manner so that other people will understand it. I don't know. If you can relate, let me know. But that is what I'm using the 2025 Sterling Ink Daily Planner as for the coming year. Now, I did get the B6 size and it is the full year. I think that's the only option for the daily planner because it's a daily planner, so it's a page per day, so it's a full year planner. And it does also come in the A5 size. So I chose the B6 size and I got it in the tweed cover because I love this cover. I did wish that the N1 also came in this cover, but it doesn't. That's okay. I've made my peace with that. I have moved on. I did debate for a while whether or not I would do A5 or B6. I went back and forth, forth and back. I did some samples in my notebooks and everything. And the one that I generally use is a B6 notebook for this purpose. But I sometimes feel like I could use a little bit of extra space. The reason I decided not to go to A5, however, is twofold. Even though there are some days where I feel like I could use a little bit more space, I don't necessarily need that space. I'm the type of person who just writes constantly. When I'm sitting and there's a pen nearby, I'm just writing anything, writing stuff, writing things that just pop into my brain, writing it down. It's not always important. It's not always information that I really need to capture and reference back. So a lot of the things that I'm writing in my brainstorming notebook isn't something that I need to archive. So while I would like a little bit more space on the page, I don't really need a little more space on the page. And then the deciding factor in whether or not I would get a B6 or an A5 really boiled down to the fact that I just wanted to use my gillio cover that I haven't used since I think 2021 or 2022. So that's really what it boiled down to. I wanted to use this again. So I figured I would get some type of notebook, planner, whatever, in a B6 size so that I could use it again. B6 is one of those sizes that I do truly love. It didn't work for me as a daily planner for whatever reason. You know what? Let me rephrase. It did work. It worked just fine. But I fell in love with TN or Traveler's Notebook size more. It's like, you know, you have two children, you love them both, and you don't want to admit that you love one more than the other, but maybe there are certain circumstances that you love one more. No, I should back up. So anyway, I love them both. But for my daily planner, standard Traveler's Notebook, I just couldn't not use it. So I did want to bring B6 back into my lineup in some kind of way, and here is that way. I did use a business planner in B6 size for 2023. I have nothing in my lineup for 2024 in B6 size, so I'm back. All right, so as I explained, I use this as just a notebook, a very messy notebook, and it gets a little extra pizzazz because I'm using a nice notebook to do it. I've done this in cheap one subject notebooks. I've done this in just composition notebooks, but now I just want it in a prettier notebook. So here we are. This one actually is Wonderland 222 B6 size notebook. I think it's like a 300 and something page, 365 pages of Tomo River paper. I got this back in 2021. I believe that's when I was using the Wonderland 222 system. So that's what I started 2021 in. And I've been using this notebook since then, just filling it up with random bits and bobs. But that's what I've been using for 2024 this year. And that's also how I knew that B6 size would work for this purpose just fine. So as you can see, over the past few days, I just write random things. Nothing is really important. Nothing is pretty at all. I did do like a sample of how I track my time. I also use this to track my time. So when the day begins or after it has already begun, I sit down and I write down all the things that I think I'm doing today and when. My brain works best knowing when things are going to happen. So like what blocks of time I will devote to specific things. So I like to organize my day that way, and I like to track my day to see how I actually use my time. But it's something that I don't like to do in my actual daily pages in my planner. I don't know why. I think maybe because it would take up a whole lot of space in my daily planner, and I don't always need to go back to this. But it's something that I need in order to feel like I'm using my time wisely, but it's nothing I need to reference later. So that is likely the gist of how I use this notebook. I write down things that I need to know, information that I need to capture in the moment, but nothing that I typically need to archive later. If there is something in these pages that I do need to archive later, I will move it to the corresponding notebook. So if it's like some business ideas or anything like that, it goes into my business notebook. If it's something dealing with family or setting up appointments or anything I need for a future appointment, then I'll move that to my daily planner later. Hopefully that explains all of the way that I use this notebook. And it is not even 9:30 in the morning. So I'll show you. This is actually today's entry. And when I sat down, I knew what I wanted to put into the day. So this is all of what I wanted to put into the day, and then I had to figure out where I wanted to put those things into the day. So that is what is over here on the left-hand side. And then some little side notes about what falls under those categories. And then over here, a few more notes about tasks that I intend to do for the day. So if this is confusing, I understand. I would not be surprised. But that is how I use this notebook. That is how I'm setting up this B6 daily planner from Sterling Ink for 2025. With that said, there's not a whole lot of setup since it's just a glorified notebook. But what I do like is to make things pretty. Don't we all? So I did have some ideas about what I wanted to use the different areas in the planner for and how I wanted to make it pretty. So the first thing that the daily planner has is this perpetual calendar or like vertical calendar. I can't remember like all of the names that people call it, but it's a yearly and a vertical format. Each page has 1/4 of the year. So what I intend to use this for is to index notes. So any of those little things that I may write down on the daily pages that I said I may need to come back to or I may need to transfer someplace else, I will index those important things here. That's the only thing I can think to use this for. Also, there is kind of like a color coding system, and I'm starting a new one for 2025. So we'll loop back to that. But the color coding will show up on this index as well. And then the next things, so the daily planner does have monthlies. I cannot think of a reason why I would use these monthlies. I am drawing a blank. Ever since I ordered this planner in September, until now, I've been thinking of like, why would I use a monthly layout in this notebook? I still don't know why. So these are going to remain blank for the foreseeable future, unless I use them for something that is not dated. So just some kind of reference, and just use it as a page with squares on it, and I put things into those squares, but it has zero to do with the actual date. Maybe I could use these in that way. Maybe something will come to me, July of 2025, and then I'll decide. But for now, they're going to remain unused. And then getting into the beginning of the actual daily pages, I do have some ideas, and you can see this written on my little sticky notes. I do have some ideas for how I'm going to use these pages. So you get an opening spread for, or just one page before the month begins. So this is the January page, and then January 1st starts over here on the right. So you get this page for each month of the year. And I do have some ideas for how I'm going to use this. And today in this video, we will set up January together. So you're going to see how I'm going to use that. And then another area, aside from just having 1 day per page, and I will explain that you do get a timeline on these pages, and it goes from 6 a.m. down to 12 a.m. So you get that right over here. So that's where I intend to track my time, and it's pretty straightforward. Each page is dated for the year. I thought about whether or not I would get the daily planner undated to use for this year, but really what swayed me was this cover. So I was like, I need the cover because I don't need these monthlies. It doesn't matter what dates they are. You know, I'm not going to go in and date them myself. Also, the index kind of page is already dated. It's not like year specific. So that would also work in an undated format for me. And then just like I'm doing now, where I just write in whatever the date is up top, I could do the same thing, you know, in an undated version, and it wouldn't bother me one bit. So after you have all of the pages per day, you do get a 2-page notes spread. So this is just grid notes pages to be used however you want in between the months. So it ends after this, and then you flip the page, and on the left side again, you get that February kind of overview page, and then it goes into February 1st over on the right. So this spread, I had to do some thinking about how I would use it, and I feel like this is going to evolve as I use the planner. But again, I'm going to set this up with you for January. Or do I set it up? I don't know. We're going to talk through this for January. All right. First things first, though. In an effort to, as I said, make this pretty, I did make a few things myself on Canva. And I don't even know if like all of this is sized correctly. I don't know how it's going to look. We will find out together. But basically, I put together this little cover page, and I wanted it to look like a composition notebook because this is just a basic notebook for me. And so I thought that was really cute. So I used some of the images on Canva that were available to do this. I dated it with 2025 down here, and then a little like nameplate thingy that you would see on composition notebooks. So when I put this together on Canva, I just sized it to like 5 by 7 and printed it at like, I don't know, maybe 98% of the size of the scale. I'm not at all exact when I do these types of things, and that's what works for me. I think I do want to round these corners, yeah, to make it more notebook-like. And I wasn't sure if I wanted this to stick in, if I wanted it to be vellum, if I wanted it to just be like a tip-in, but I've decided to print it on sticker paper, and it's just basic sticker paper that I have from Amazon. Absolutely nothing special. So I'll just peel back the top part, attempt to line this up, and hope of all hopes, pray that it goes in evenly. So I have to remember to kind of start it a little bit down from the page. Pray that it's straight. I feel like it's kind of not. Oh, not bad. All right, so I just stuck that right in there. So when I put this into my cover, which we will also do together, I'll likely have, am I going to? I was going to say I'll have this inserted into the other side of the cover, but I want to see this. So maybe I won't. So anyway, when I open it up, this will be like the cover page, so to speak. And then this like fly leaf, I usually will glue these 2 pages together. And now that I just said that, I might as well just do that now. So I'll just put some adhesive on here. This is one that I got from Hobby Lobby, I believe. And it has, the adhesive is like blue dots, which I don't love because it will show through the paper. If you can see that. So they're like little blue dots. And it will show through the paper, like I said. But I'm going to just attempt to make sure it's going to be positioned behind this other page that I'm going to put on the opposite side here. So just close that back so that those 2 pages seal together. And then opening that up, it stays together. And you can even see the shadow of those blue dots here. So I don't like to use that tape runner on, well, thinner paper that I'm worried about seeing through. But since I'll be putting this here, it won't matter. I think I'm also going to round these corners as well. I do have these corner rounders, or this corner rounder, and the sticker paper linked in my Amazon storefront, I believe. Of course, that is an affiliate storefront, so I do get a little bit of a commission on anything that you guys would purchase through my storefront. So I do appreciate your support if you do. So I'm going to stick this in the same way I did the other one, on a wing and a prayer. Hopefully it goes in straight. And I'm feeling like I need something underneath here, because it feels like it's not going on straight. And oh, that looks terrible. Shoot. So yeah, because the left side was not flat, this left side here, it went on very crooked. This middle part is fine. I'm just thinking to myself, how much do we care? Also, how is this affecting this side? It's making it bubble up a little bit. Let's see. Slowly but surely, I've pulled this whole sticker back. I don't even know how I did it. I don't know what sorcery I was able to get this whole sticker back by, but I am thankful that that worked. Okay, so now I put something underneath this side so that this is laying flat, so that I hopefully will be able to smoothly lay this back down and not screw this up again. It was a little crooked, so like I think the bottom of this sticker is a little askew, but that is not a big deal for me, just as long as it's like not bubbling up and making all the other pages around it be weird. All right, we did it. We did it, guys. We did it. So that's those 2 together. It's still, because I use that tape, like not all the way to the edges, or that tape runner, not all the way to the edges, I still have this that's lifting up. I am going to seal that down. I need to grab my other tape runner, which is where I should have just started with this one in the first place, right? Here. So that's the Tombow Mono adhesive tape runner. I feel like this is like Hot Mess Express, but very, very on brand. All right. and we just roll with it. Okay, so I'm liking that. It works for me. So this is the little intro page. Will I put my name? I'll probably put my name there. And now I'm thinking about like what color I'm going to use. Speaking of colors, I was waiting to do this video because I needed to put an order into jet pens. I wanted my color scheme for this year, for this year's notebook to be bright colors, but not super fluorescent type of highlighter colors. So that's kind of what I was going for with the 2025 here, the colors that I chose there, colors that I chose for here. Like I want them to be bright, but not too over the top. So these are the ones that I think will work well. I have 5 categories that I usually track for my time blocking, and I will assign each of these a category. So I think what I'm going to do is use one of these pages back here. Oh, and I didn't explain to you. So let's see. So you have a day per page that goes through the end of 2025. And then we have, oh, like that recap page for December. And then from page 444, I guess, to 479, those are all notes pages. So a good amount of notes pages, which I would use. I feel like I'm going to need a tab over here to remind me that there are notes pages in the back should I need to use them. But getting back to what I was saying, so I can do a little bit of a swatch here and then use this to decide which colors I want to use for which life categories that I will track on a daily basis. Oh, and I'm well aware of the drama that's been going on regarding Tomo River paper and whether things bleed through, things don't. If I'm being honest, I don't particularly care. And it's only because I use fountain pens, and usually in a fine or an extra fine. Usually I use well-behaved inks, so I don't use really heavy inks or anything, so they don't bleed through. So I find that even on the thinnest of papers, I don't usually have an issue with bleed through. Ghosting, I don't at all mind. I kind of think if you're using this kind of paper, you should expect ghosting. Some of us may even really love ghosting. So, you know, take that as you will. So that's how those mild liner markers behave on this paper. And this is the bright set. FYI. I don't know the color names, and we've gone through this on my channel before. Some places you can buy, or I've seen people have mild liners that actually have names on the barrel in English, I should specify, but these don't. So I don't know, girl. I don't know what the colors are. I can maybe look on JetPen's website to see what the names are. But these are the 5 colors that I'll be using for the categories. And my categories are home, personal, work. Work has like 2 different types of work. And then like things for which I have to leave the house. So events, appointments, errands type of category. So on a daily basis, the events or errands category will be the least used, because I'm not going out every single day. So I guess I would choose the color that I'm least excited about. Yeah, I think that's how I want to break down the colors. So I need to choose what will be represented by what. I feel like all of the colors that I am most drawn to are like the bottom 4. So all of them besides the red up at the top. I don't hate the red. And I feel like I would just like to see these colors together more regularly. So maybe I'll use the red for events, appointments, errands. Those appointments can also be like meetings where I'm staying in the house. So anything timed that I'd like need to show up to. That's what I'll use that red for. And then the home category is if I'm doing anything with the family, or if I'm doing anything that's like housework type related, cooking dinner, cleaning, I don't know, anything related to my household. That's what the house category is. For work, like I said, I have two categories for work. So there's like consulting and my other kind of business. So those would be those two work categories. To be more specific, there's like a B2B business, business to business, and a business to consumer business. So those are two separate areas. And then the events, like I said. So yeah. Okay, so I need to determine what those four categories would be. Oh, I didn't say personal, did I? So personal would be like my self-care kind of Kim downtime. So just saying that, I feel like I would like my color maybe to be this purple that I really liked. And then home, and then business, business. Personal, home, business, business. Yep, I think that's what I want. So all right, so that's how I will likely break it down. And this is the Tool gel pen, if you're wondering. I'm not sure which thickness. Oh, it says medium. And there's no like bleed through with that. FYI. So that's how I will break down my key. I still feel a little apprehensive to put it right here, right now. So I think what I'm going to do, even though I have it in the book back here, what I'm going to do is put this down on just a white Post-it note for the time being. I kind of want to live with the key a little bit and then determine if it's the right one for me. Also, I want to put it in maybe a different order or maybe not, whatever. So I'm just going to copy this right over to here. Clearly not in a straight line. I admit that seeing this on a different paper, like this Post-it white paper, makes the colors look a little bit more vibrant. And I'm wondering if maybe I want to switch this yellow color to a business category and make pink home. I'll decide eventually. Also, there may be other factors involved in my key. So until I determine that fully, I don't want to set up this little printout that I have on the actual book just yet. This was business. I kind of feel like I want this to be business and this to be home. I'm going to put that down here. So again, I'm going to live with this for a little bit and see how I like it. All right, so this year overview, the year on one page, I don't foresee using. I don't even really reference this. And if I needed to, like if I'm scheduling things, it's not always likely I'll be looking here. So I don't even think I would track like time off or anything there. And then for the index, the only thing I did for this is since I was printing that stuff on sticker paper, I figured I could just print out a little title for myself to use here. The spread, this quarterly kind of spread, does have like a little box up at the top for each month and a box at the bottom for each month. Again, I don't know how exactly I use that. And then you have the date 2025 up at the top. None of that is pertinent to the way that I use this spread. So I'm thinking I could just put the title up there. It doesn't even have to be like under here. Maybe I'll just put it right under 2025. And if I do have anything month specific, and if I do have anything January specific, I could put it down here. So do I need this little sticker that indicates what this page is for? Not at all, but when you have the sticker paper out, you might as well use the sticker paper. All right, so that's the title of my index page. And I can take out these little reminders that I put in here like back in October to remind me of what I'm using each of these spreads for. All right, so the January like overview kind of page, I was thinking I could use it as a mind map of sorts. And all of these uses that I went through in my mind, I feel like they brought me back to goal planning, like almost having an actual goal planner, which I did have, some years ago. I didn't have it for 2024. I barely used it in 2023, and then I had it the years prior. But putting together some kind of mind map for my focuses for the month, that, and then the way I hash it out in my brain is always messy. So I feel like this is the place for it. It's for writing down those messy thoughts that still need to be refined, that still need to, like, I need to think some things through. So that's exactly what I would do when thinking about my goals for the month. And I did say mind map type of style. I, however, do not work well with mind maps. Like the layout of a mind map doesn't work for my brain at all. But I just use the term mind map to give you an idea of the way I'm thinking through it. So before January begins, I do have some thoughts. I've always got thoughts. And I think the areas that I want to focus on for January would be my home and kind of getting my home organized, getting it back in order, so to speak. So that does involve like a cleaning schedule. That does involve organizing some areas that are currently in disarray. Those closets that we keep the doors closed on, those drawers that we keep closed. So those are the areas that I want to focus on for January. I feel like I need to focus on them for January. So that's what I'm going to do here. Just outline what I'll be doing or what those goal focus areas are. So I would call that like home management. My pen is running out of ink. Speaking of pen, this is the pen that I typically use for my notebook. It's my Platinum 3776 in celluloid. The color is calico, also known as stone. And I like to use a specific ink in this pen. So I was thinking that through, especially as it relates to highlighting certain things and color coding. The ink that I use here doesn't act well with that unless I like highlight first and then write over it. But if I switch to this pen, I would likely use Diatramentus Document in black, and you can highlight over that ink. My hesitation is this has a medium nib in it, which I don't love to write with on a daily basis, especially in such small grid spaces. So I may try it out, but this one would probably be best for daily writing in this quick notes brainstorming type of fashion because it's a retractable pen, so I can easily just like pick it up, click, write down my note, and then put it down, whatever. This doesn't have any ink in it at the moment, so I can't test it in this video, but I think that's what I might do. So anyway, my goals for January, home management. I've been toying with the idea of setting up an online shop for a long time, like a planner related online shop. And when I say long time, I mean long, long, long time, like since 2021. I haven't done it yet, obviously, because you know about it. But I'm thinking through if that's going to be on the horizon for me for 2025. We'll see. I don't know how it'll be on the horizon. I don't know when in 2025. I don't know if. So that is something that could be one of those focus areas for 2025. I feel like for me, in the way that my brain works, we're at the end of the year. We're closing out November. December's right around the corner, closing out 2024. I don't like to think about new projects. I don't like to engage in new projects. I kind of want to refine those goals that I've already been working on. So January to me is that fresh start kind of time where I can start to think about new ideas and new things. So that I would put on my focus area for January. And the focus as it relates to that online shop is whether or not I'm going to do it. That would be the focus. And then I like to do things in threes. So I'm trying to think of like a third area that I would focus on in the month of January. Like I said, one portion of my business is like B2B. And do I want to get new clients? If I'm being honest right now, no. So I don't want that to be a focus in 2025, or at least in January. Oh, you know what? So personal. So that language learning goal that I have, that's going to be a focus for me in January. Absolutely. I'll go more into that in future videos. So these are going to be the 3 areas that I do my mind mapping for on this January overview spread. I'm not sure the format. Like, will I just write home management and then a list of a bunch of things that I feel like I need to do? The problem with that is once I start listing, my lists get out of control. Then I have to like narrow down that list to maybe like 5 or 6 things. So am I okay with the list getting out of control on this one spread? This is something I would use my brainstorming notebook for, and I've taken to calling it like my brain on paper. So I would, let's say tomorrow's date, November 23rd, I'll sit down and I write down all the categories under home management. And then from that list, that's how I decide what to put on here for my focus for January. So that's exactly where I put those messy notes. And then those might be notes that I want to refer back to, because also if in February I want to continue on this home management quest, I'll pick more tasks from that list to put onto the February focus list. So that is where I'm going to leave this mind map for January at the moment. And this video is getting longer, much longer than I anticipated. But another thing that I was waiting for in that order were these dot markers. So I got them in, and why not open this up, Kimberlee? So I got this in a few bright colors to go along with my bright theme that I have going on in my planner. So I didn't mention, but on the index page, if I want to categorize some of these, I can use these dot markers to do that. So if on, let's say, January 10th, I'm writing down something that relates to one of my businesses, I would then go in and maybe use a corresponding dot marker. All maybes, I don't know. And then when I'm looking at the index, that would be a great way for me to be able to categorize the notes that I'm looking for. So if I know that I'm looking for business notes, I might look for all of the ones that are bright green, and maybe they correspond with this highlighter color. Like that. So moving on. So we've cleared up how I'm going to use this mind map, and then the review for the month. This one is also something I'm really thinking through, and I'm really excited about how I'm going to use it. I do already do weekly reviews, and I've mentioned that as it relates to my daily planner. And in September, I had the idea that I wanted to start doing a monthly review as well. I just didn't know what the format might be. And in October, I actually did do that on the dashboard. I left like a little bit of a space in order to write down just a brief summary of how I felt the month went. So as I've been thinking through how I'm going to be doing monthly reviews, I want it to be more. I want it to be more than just that little blurb or that little summary, especially for 2025, because like I said, I feel like I'm getting back into goal focusing and goal planning. That's what I need in my life at the moment, so I'm welcoming it. So this monthly reflection, I want to go over those same types of questions that I do on my weekly reviews, but maybe in a little bit more depth, and also specific to those goals that I set for myself at the beginning of the month. I want to check in on each and every one of those, see where we are, if we need, by we I mean me, see where we are, see if we want to carry those into future months. Maybe there's some unresolved or unfinished business related to those goals, or maybe we just want to expound on them. So that's what I want this monthly reflection or review to be. And also a lot more introspection, I would say. So I love journaling. If you're not new around here, you know that. But if you are new, I love to journal, and I journal about what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm doing. not really what I'm doing, but how I'm going to be moving next. So some of the thoughts that I have for this monthly reflection would be, how am I feeling right now? Like at the end of this month, am I burnt out? Am I inspired? Am I motivated? How am I feeling? I want to go through like what's exciting me at the moment. Like what new project am I really excited to do? What vacation I'm looking forward to in the next month? What's exciting right now? And also, on the flip side of that, what is draining me right now? Like what is taking way too much energy, way too much effort from me? And in reviewing like what's draining me, I can make the determination of whether or not I need to like let it go from my life or not. Also, if there are any exciting ideas that I have or some thoughts that I have that I kind of want to hash out, I want to work through and see if it's something that's worth pursuing. It's kind of hard for me to explain that without examples. So I do want to have further videos about this daily planner, which is, I'm not sure how that format's going to be. Like, are they going to be goal videos? Because you don't want to see my messy notes. Or maybe you do. I don't know. But I don't know what that format is going to be. But it's going to be something. And maybe then I'll be able to explain what I mean when I'm reflecting on if there's anything exciting or profound, some things, some ideas that I'm really wanting to work through and work out. And also in reflecting on January per se, I want to see what I can do to make February even better. So I do that again in my weekly reviews. How can I make next week better? And this would be along those same lines. How can I make the next month better? Based on the progress that I've noted here, the progress that I have attained or not attained, how can I make the next month better? And I love that this is a 2-page spread because I feel like one page can be actual deliverables. Like, what did we do for home management? What did we do for the online shop? What did we do for language learning? So actual deliverables. And then the other side of the page can be all about how I'm feeling. How did everything go? Even though maybe I accomplished all of these goals on this side, maybe I'm worn out and I'm just ready to take a month off of goals. That could absolutely come out when I am reflecting on how the month went. So that is what this spread will be. So now that I've gone through and I've explained all of the ways I intend to use this daily planner, I will put it into a cover with you. I have a couple of B6 notebook covers. I think literally just a couple. I feel like I have like an old Motown one that I believe my daughter is using. I have a VDS one that I did customize that I used for my business planner last year. And then I have this gillio appunto. This is obviously in the B6 size, and this is the charcoal matte croco. And I've had this since 2021, I think. And you can see it does have some patina. The patina is that shiny sort of quality that you get from the oils on your hands or whatever. So it does have patina on the outside, and you can compare that to the inside. So the inside is a lot more matte. So that's what it originally looks like. That's why it's called that charcoal matte leather. This I also love. It's really nice to feel, but that gives you an example of the difference between like the outside that's very patinaed and then the inside. So this is the cover that I was really looking forward to using. Again, I just hadn't been in it in a while and I wanted to use it. I wanted to pull it out. Whenever I buy planner covers, I buy them because I like really, really, really love them. And I buy them with the understanding that I'm going to keep them forever. So anyway, one thing that I don't love about the appunto is that it's big. It's like roomy. And I don't like my covers to be super roomy. So I thought that I might put in an extra little notebook. I have no purpose for this at the moment. It's a B6 size insert from Good Ink Impressions. And it's that B6 that's a little bit different. There are like two B6 sizes out there. One is like the more recognized standard size, and that's this. the sterling ink. And then if you can see that this one from Good Impressions is a little bit shorter. This is the same size as actually the Wonderland 222 B6. I can't remember off the top of my head like what they call each of these. Maybe like an international one and a standard one. I don't know. But they're a little bit different. FYI, if you're ever wondering why you might have a couple of B6s that are a little bit different from one another. Anyway, I thought maybe I would keep this additional notebook if I needed extra notes pages along with this setup, even though we do have about 40 something back here. That could be an option, but really the main reason is so it can bulk up this cover for me. So this is likely how we're going to live with this in 2025. And in my planner bag that I use every day, I will be housing this, my daily planner, my business planner. And I feel like that's pretty much what I keep in my planner bag that I might like migrate around the house with or in. And then put my little pin there. Isn't that good? It's really good, right? I like the vibes. I'm loving the vibes. Open it up. Oh, wait. Open it up. Get to my opening page. I think it's really cute. And it's definitely very playful. It's a playful kind of vibe. Not something that I do often, but still, that's part of me and I love it. So I would like to incorporate a lot more of these bright colors some way, somehow in this entire setup. So you'll see that evolution and that growth over the course of 2025 as I really get into and really use this system a lot more. Again, like I said, I'll be sharing a few more videos about how I'm doing this, how I'm setting it up. Maybe like at the end of January, I'll kind of show you and flip through what this actually looks like. So I'm really excited about that, and I hope you are too. If you are, definitely subscribe because I would love to have you hang around here with me. And if you have any questions about anything I've shown, anything I've talked about, feel free to leave those down below and I'll get right back to you. I'll also link anything I mentioned in today's video down below in the description box. Thank you so much for following along on today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.